They shot me, somebody under my house, waiting for me to walk by, and pulled the trigger. Now, it wasn't up. They didn't shoot up like this. They shot like that.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Stacks. I'm your host, Bill Stacks, and today I got Buddy Webb.
Hey there, Bill.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, you're welcome.
So you have an incredible story. I came across you on TikTok, and I was shocked when I seen your videos.
Yes, I've had millions of views over the years, and I call it the biggest untold story in America. And I'm the first to admit how crazy this is, which is why I'm so thankful for the evidence. And so I've got a ton of evidence that backs it up. And on the other side of that, I've been called crazy more times than I can count. There was a guy that on YouTube made a video about me, seen by 2.5 million people, calling me crazy. Insanity diarrhea is what he said. But as far as I'm concerned, he was just trying to cover up the crimes and murders connected with this house and what's going on here.
So where are you? Where do you live? Where are you born and raised? And
okay. Yes, I did. I was born in southeast New Mexico, in a town called Hobbs, New Mexico. There's a big oil field there, the Permian Basin, and I live now 100 miles from Hobbs in Midland, Texas. It's the hometown of the Bushes, which is going to be tied back into my story here. And it's West Texas, and it's pretty hot.
Have you ever had any interactions with the Bushes before all this?
No, I wouldn't say any interactions, because they're two presidents is what you got, and but I feel sure that they know who I am, and it's interesting. Every time I'll be, like I was contacting the mayor. This was a few months ago, maybe 6 months ago, and I was sending emails to our new mayor, and I was telling her that I had been told that these underground homes here were put in for the Bushes. And next thing I know, George Bush shows up in town, for some deal, and I'm thinking the real reason he come to town was because of me in these underground homes. And, and we get into the story, and I start explaining some of the evidence. There absolutely is no doubt them underground homes are here. Multiple people are documented saying they're here, and there's supporting evidence that I found on Google Maps that they tried to delete. They did delete, but I've got copies of it.
It's wild. So when did you move into this house?
Okay, so in 2008, November 2008, my company, DCP Midstream, of 25 years, offered me a promotion and a moving package if I would move over here. And like I said, it's only 100 miles from my hometown of Hobbs. And so that's scary in itself, to always move away from your hometown and all that. But nobody could imagine what I was coming into, here in the Midland. And when I bought this home, the previous owner, young guy, Mike Lawhon, he died right before I got here. Okay, they told me it was an accident, and I didn't think anything about it. He was 27 years old, 2 little boys, and or I was going through the realtor, and so I didn't meet the sellers. But then after everything started happening to me, I started doing research on Mike Lawhon, and I'm convinced that he was murdered here, taken to Fort Worth. And I can go ahead and even tell that story. There was a neighbor lived directly across the street, Marilyn DeLuigi. She told me twice that Mike died in this house. And one time she says, "I should know, right?" And yeah, she should. She lived right across the street. Well, his death certificate says he died in Fort Worth. Okay, so I get online and I'm Googling him and find it, looking for him, look him up, and I see where the Odessa American. Odessa is another town 20 miles from here, from Midland. There, where the Odessa American newspaper posted a death notice for Mike, saying that he died in Fort Worth. Okay, just like his death certificate says. And then 4 days later, they posted a second death notice, and they changed the location of death to say he died at his residence. And that was right here. And that's what Maryland told me. It confirmed me. That's unheard of. That's, that is unheard of. I've got print screens of both of the death notices from No Deaths American. Law enforcement could ask them. Okay. And so then I've got another guy that was on Facebook. He was a local guy in town, a businessman, and he's a Freemason as well, named Aaron Packelhofer. And he wrote me on Facebook. He said, there were 4 people murdered, died in your house. You know their names? 4 people before they cut my phone lines and shot me. Okay. And once again, that confirms, I think Mike Lawhon, the previous owner that died right before I got here, was one of the 4. The other thing about Mike is he died the week before the 2008 international, or the Permian Basin International Oil Show. Okay. That's a big deal because once again, like we're sitting on a big oil field, one of the biggest in the nation is the Permian Basin. And oil people are wealthy people, extremely wealthy people, rich people. So people from all over the world in the oil business fly to Midland, Odessa for this convention, this industry convention called the Permian Basin International Oil Show. Okay. I have reason to believe, and I'll get into that in a minute, that the underground homes, and one of them's in my backyard, was hosting the oil show parties. These are the after-hour parties going on during the Permian Basin International Oil Show. Like I said, extremely wealthy people there. Mike died the week before the oil show started. Okay. And
do you know how he died?
Yes, he died of an overdose. Okay. And I pulled at his what do you call it? His ME report, the medical examiner's report, and it was proproxifene intoxication, acute. And I looked that up on the internet, and that is in the medical science journals or whatever. It's a rare poison is what he died of. Okay. But it's basically Darvocet is what he died of. And then that house in Fort Worth was his mom's house. Okay. And so this is his house here, and that was his mom's house. His mom used to live here in Midland, and she used to work for a billionaire here named Clay Desta, who's a late billionaire. He died a few years ago, but possibly that was Clayton Williams, and possibly Clayton Williams might have something to do with these underground homes, these oil show parties, and all that, because he was a billionaire oil man.
So you move into the house. What was your first sign that something wasn't right, that there was a house underneath the house? What were your first signs of this? Yeah,
it took a long ways to get to that point. But basically what happened, I was living here 2 years, and I was remodeling this house. I was working down at Clay Desta, and I'm an IT guy, is what I am. And so here it was in November 9th, 2010, that I'm a real anal clean type person. Everything's in place, all that. I was leaving my home, and I was like, somebody's been in this house, And so before I walked out the back door, I straightened the throw rug on the floor. Okay. And because one, I don't like crooked rugs. I don't like anything crooked. Okay. And so I straightened it on purpose before I left. I come home about an hour later, open the door up, look down, and that rug's crooked. And I was 100% sure somebody had been in my house. Okay. And then I also found the sliding glass door open, and I hadn't opened it in about 6 months. So that was my first night to call the police. My first burglary was a burglary habitation call to the Midland Police. Even on the very first police report, they come over and they look at, here's the door open and all that. And they write on the report, a guy named, I'll think of it in a minute. One of the police officers writes possible 1096. Okay. 1096 is mental patient crazy. Okay. So here I am. I'm a homeowner. I'm a granddad. Somebody breaks in my house and they're automatically calling me crazy right off the bat. Okay. They're setting the groundwork is what they were doing. Okay. And so then 2 months later, I reported my second burglary. And that time was the first time I heard somebody in the attic of my house. Okay. So police come over. The same police officer was here again. They later promoted him. Right now, he is the sergeant over internal affairs. He got it promoted. And he was involved because he was, as far as I'm concerned, falsely labeling me as crazy. And what I found out, they do that to all the crime victims that are reporting people in the attic. But anyways, that call, they come over and they didn't look, and right off the bat, 1096, oh, he's crazy. That's what it is.
Now,
And
at this point, did you hear anything about the house underneath the house? Did you hear any?
no, and the underground homes, like I said, it's been, you can think how many years it is. That was 2011 when I reported my first people in the attic. Okay, and so it's basically a series of crime that's never stopped. That's gonna. I mean, I heard somebody in my attic a while ago. I mean, I heard them yesterday. I heard them the day before. I heard them 5 years ago. I heard them 10 years ago. They sleep here. Okay, but the big deal of this on the people in the attic, it's not just me, because what happened was after they started calling me crazy, I had a police scanner. This was after I was shot, and I started hearing other homeowners calling in to the police and reporting people in their attic. And I started making videos of it. And then I was noticing on the calls, and I have them posted out on YouTube and social media, that they're calling them crazy. And I figured out what they were doing is the same thing to me that they had done to them. They didn't tell them about all these other homeowners reporting the same crimes. They didn't investigate, and they called them crazy. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then once I got on the internet and started, it basically went viral. And then people started contacting me from all over the nation. They're still contacting me, telling me about people in the attic from California to Alabama. I've documented people, over 50 other homeowners, And I made a joke before. How many you need? 60, 70, 100, How many people do you need? This is a
Now,
nationwide.
how would these people get into your attic?
There we go. Okay. And so that's what I looked for a long time is how they were getting, how they're getting in this house. And so I was locking up, I was, screwing my windows together, putting extra locks on my doors, I was putting cameras in, and it was the ex-wife I married. I was married to her for 3 months, and we separated actually I filed for divorce 5 days before I was shot with my phone lines cut.
Oh, so she lived in this house with you?
Yes, she did.
Okay.
And she was a witness to what's going on. She was pretending to be on my side at the time, but she's the one that gave me some clues and hints. And she said, well, she's the one that actually said for the first time, she says, you think they're coming from underground? I'm like, what? Ain't nobody coming from underground, But over time, I finally, I was absolutely sure of it. That's what they're doing. They're coming from underground. Okay. And after I'd been shot and I got to the hospital, I was on crutches. And so back then I was taking a drill and I was drilling a hole in my ceiling, and I had a snake camera. Okay. That you snake up there. Okay. And I snuck it up there, and I saw a young Hispanic guy as clear as day in my attic. This is not, oh, well, that's rodents or whatever. None of them excuses work. I saw a young Hispanic guy in my attic, 100%, absolutely sure. And when that happened, both my attic doors were bolted shut. I'd already had them bolted shut. So how'd they get in the attic, right? If the doors are bolted shut, they're coming up a wall. That's what they're doing.
You got to check the thickness of the walls, because
that's exactly right. I have a video that I made called "Find the Wall, Find the Tunnel." Okay, I went around with a drill, drilling holes in my walls. Okay, and I drew a map. I had a whole map of all the walls of my house, and I was marking them off. Okay, I got about 75% done. I got some good possibilities, and I thought I better quit, because if I get any closer, they're going to kill me. Okay, because they've already cut my phone lines and shot me, and the police covered it up. Okay, and ain't nothing changed, and they're still breaking in this home. Okay, this was before I got all the information on the underground homes, what you were talking about a minute ago. Okay,
so you were shot before you even found out about the underground home?
Yeah, I mean, I was ambushed and shot by somebody under my home. And what was happening on the day of the murder attempt, January 28, 2012. I'd been reporting people breaking my house for over a year, and they were doing it every day. Okay. And I mean, they're just messing with me is what they're doing, and then the police wasn't doing anything but calling me crazy. And so on the day of the murder attempt, I come home from the grocery store. I had one door in my whole house that you could get in. And I did that because I'm trying to figure out how they were getting in my house. Okay. And then that door had a big padlock on it. Garage door screwed to the wall. I couldn't even use my own garage because I'm trying to figure out how they're getting in this house. Okay, not realizing they're coming from under the house. It's rigged, and all that. Okay. And so I get back home and I notice that there's cushion out of place on my couch that wasn't out of place earlier. Remember, I'm an anal type person. I know you know, how I left it. I would never leave it like that. That I don't like crooked rugs, you know. And
Yeah.
so as soon as I walk in, I knew somebody had been in my house again. I had been reporting these crimes. Okay. So I get this idea to tie wire my spare doors shut. Okay. And so I spent a couple hours. And the reason I did that, this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, and I live here by myself. Okay. So I don't need two other bedrooms and another bath. Okay. And so the reason I did it, the ex-wife had already told me there was a trap door here, but I didn't know where it was at. I didn't know which room it was at. Okay. And so I was going to compartmentalize my home. And, you know, in that way, I blocked that access to the door. What I did was I take some tie wire, okay, and I've made videos about this, but I wired these doors together, okay, with this tie wire, okay. You physically couldn't open the door, okay, from the 2 bedrooms and the bathroom, okay. What I didn't know is when I did that, I trapped one of them burglars in that bathroom, okay. It's like a double room bathroom because a second door in there for the bath and all that stuff. And they were hiding in there. I didn't know it. I knew somebody had been in my house, and when I tie wire my doors, and I trapped one. Well, this is a dire situation for these criminals. They got $1 million underground homes and you know, and these corrupt police that are helping them and rigging these homes and all that. Because here they're trapped, and I'm on the other side of the door with a gun. This is a dire situation. Okay.
Are you talking? Are you talking to the person? Are you saying, I know you're in there?
No, I knew they were in my house. I talked to them when they're in the attic or whatever, you know, because I mean, and now it's like I was telling you, they're making noise earlier. They don't try to be quiet, you know, because they know I know, you know, actually when the air conditioner goes off and they're hot, they'll be banging on the rafters wanting me to get up, go turn the air conditioner on, you know, and they're the ones that got the guns and the dirty cops helping them. So I get up, turn the air conditioner on, you know, and that's where we're at until we can find some cops that are not involved in killing innocent people in their homes. You know, this is organized crime is what it is. Like I said, and it's nationwide. They're all over the country. There are people that I think it's human trafficking is what I think it is. And maybe trafficking, you know, and maybe illegal immigration. You know, we're only a few hours from the border. You know, it'd be perfect for that. And that's a moneymaker. But it's definitely organized crime. They ought to be charged under RICO. Okay. But anyway, so on this day here, I'm going through and I'm tiring all these doors shut. Well, burglar alarms start going on my attic over and over and over. This ain't accident. This is on purpose, you know. And these
what kind of gun do you have?
Huh? I had a 9mm on my side, and I had a 12-gauge shotgun. Okay, that's what. And then I had 2 22s in my bedroom. But that's what I had on me at the time, and it was a spooky situation. I mean, it was a spooky deal. That's all there is to it, you know. And about 5 weeks earlier, the police had been called to my house, and the police put me into the back seat of a police car, Bush and Trevor, I think it's called, and told me we better not be called over here again for this stuff. They handcuffed me, put me in the back of the police car that had a bag of marijuana laying in the seat. They were threatening to frame me because I was reporting crimes. And now I look back and it's like they knew about the underground homes. They knew about the old show parties that were going on. They knew I was telling the truth, and they were part of the organized crime. That's what was going on. And here I'm the innocent crime victim reporting crimes to them. That's what's upset me so bad. I'm the guy that was reporting crimes to the police, you know, and you know, and not realizing they were involved in the crimes. But anyway, that's why one reason I called the police that night, because I'd been threatened by the police 5 weeks earlier. So I got burglar alarms going off over and over and over and over.
Is the alarm company notified for the?
No, it wasn't. I didn't have an alarm company at that time, and these were standalone motion detectors. You get in front of them and they go off beep, about 30 seconds real loud, you know, and I test them. They work great, and I can move them around where I wanted, you know, and I use different things. I even put cameras up there. I proved they were hacking the cameras, but that was after I was shot. You know, they'd already shot me and crippled me for life before I proved that they're hacking the cameras. I got a proof video out there of them hacking the cameras. But so on this day, like I said, it's a spooky deal. I got burglar alarms going off over and over and over and over. I just towered the door. Well, I think probably what was going on is they were wanting me to go up in the attic, because that's where the burglar alarms were going off. And then they could sneak in from the trap door and let the trap burglar out, and everything would be back. But I wasn't chasing the alarm. I'd been doing that for a year. chasing the alarm, and they were using diversion tactics on me like that. Oh, I make noise over here, I go over here, and then they clear this out, and they're ganging up on me, and they got technology, and I mean, but that day I wasn't going to do it. And so them alarms just kept going off and off and off and off and off. And I've got my guns and I'm going through and I'm securing the house and I'm looking under the couches, in the closet, securing my perimeter best I can. Okay. And I get back to the other side of the house in my utility room. It's a little bitty room, like, it's like 6 foot by 9 foot. It's got my washer dryer in there, water heater, etc. That's the room I shot in. And it leads out to a door that goes into my garage. And I set my gun down. I was going to open that door and boom, I fell to the ground. Okay. They shot me, somebody under my house waiting for me to walk by, and pulled the trigger. Okay. Now, it wasn't up. They didn't shoot up like this. They shot like that. Okay. But they were under my house. The entrance wound was 2 inches above ground level, and the exit wound was 2 inches above ground level. I have multiple proofs saying I wasn't shot my gun. The police come in and said that I was crazy and I shot myself. That's what the police said.
So what happened? You're shot. So it's a floor panel, like a piece of trim, but it wasn't there. No trim there. So you could see into like a crawl space, right?
It was a cabinet. There was a cabinet and the kickboard was gone. The shelf was gone. The door was gone. But who would ever think that was the trap door the ex-wife told me about? It was hidden is what it was. It was a hidden trap door that went to an entrance. And like I'll tell you in a minute, but we know now that there's an underground home in the backyard, $1 million underground home put in for the bushes. Okay. But I didn't know that at the time. I did later have a guy, one person, one of the many people contacted me, Ricky Ronaldo, contacted me on Facebook. He said, I used to live in that house. I said, oh, yeah. And he said, yeah, me and my brother used to go in the tunnels when we lived there. So that's two people law enforcement could talk to, but law enforcement was involved. And that's why they ain't talking to nobody. Okay. Because I now have proof police were under my home on the night that I was shot by somebody in my home. But anyway, that night I didn't know. Hey, all I was doing was going to the back door. I fell to the ground. And I jumped right back up and I fell right back down because my ankle's blown out. And here's all this blood. I didn't know what happened. They ambushed me. These are cold-blooded killers. Okay? My cell phone had gone missing a couple hours earlier. They had stole my cell phone. And then so I had a cordless phone in my pocket because I had burglar alarms going off. I go to use that cordless phone and it's dead. They disconnected the phone lines. They tried to kill me in my home. That's all there is to it. Premeditated, cold-blooded murder. Stole my cell phone, disconnected my home phone lines, and then shot me by surprise from point-blank range. Okay, that's what happened. And the phone's dead. I had no communication. I crawled on my hands and knees to the other side of the house and tried to get the phone to work. It wouldn't work, and tried to get some Band-Aids, whatever. And then I decided that I got to go. If I'm going to live, that's my only chance of survival. And I crawled out on my hands and knees. There's a video of this, of me crawling out on my hands and knees, pulling myself in the truck, and I drive to 7-Eleven. Okay. I want to say this, I was also recording them burglar alarms going off on a voice recorder. And that's really important because when I'm out at the emergency room, after I make it to the emergency room, I'm telling Detective Rosie Rodriguez, I have proof. Just go look. There's proof. And it was this voice recorder that recorded the burglar alarms going off before I was shot. That proved I was shot during a home invasion. Okay. That was the proof. Okay. An officer named April Chandler says she finds the voice recorder. This is on the police reports. And it was checked into evidence. I found that out to be a lie. Okay. So what had happened was that proof of a premeditated murder attempt, capital murder attempt that I had told the police about was stolen by the police.